Welcome back to our final session of the Commonwealth Trade and Investment Summit. And before we go into our plenary 6, which is our mitigation and adaptation session, we're very honoured today to be joined by Mr. Peter Obi, who is chairman of Next International, who will be delivering an address on Africa's role in the new global economy. If I could invite Mr. Obi onto stage to make his remarks. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think my own is when it talks about Africa, that's interesting. Thank you. It says African role in the world economy. I think this topic is of a very great importance, considering the vast opportunities in Africa, which, if we're harnessed, will contribute immensely, not just to the Commonwealth, but globally. Today, despite what you can say, the vast potentials of Africa only contributes from WTO about 2 to 3% of the world trade. And of course, it's about 3% of the global GDP. If you compare Africa to other continents, you just see the difference. Even in per capita, which you use to measure poverty and everything, you'll find out that Africa is nearly about 2,000 when you compare it to the nearest continent after that, which is Asia, at about $9,000. Despite that, Africa today is the second largest continent in terms of population of nearly 1.5 billion, but especially with the highest number of youth, or what you can call working age population of nearly 1 billion. No other continent like that. And of course, Africa has a huge hectares of uncultivated arable land. Africa possesses about 30% of the global mineral resources. So you could see the potential of Africa. Yet, when you compare it with what is happening in terms of its contribution, so following the present disruption by Trump in some known and settled global economic orders, Africa stands at an opportunity to be able, in the new order, to be able to prosper, because you could say it missed out on the globalization that people are today celebrating. Africa wasn't part of it. But I believe that if we can organize ourselves, so people will always ask, what do you need to do to change that scenario? And what will Africa do to contribute in the global economy? I think that what is missing is leadership. Africa needs leaders that will prioritize productivity, especially in investing in critical areas of development, investing in education. If you have youthful population of about 1 billion, you need to invest in education and skill, because it will provide the workforce that is needed for productivity in Africa and the world. Africa needs to invest today in the world food market or productivity. Africa just contributes about approximately 300 billion. Yet they have vast uncultivated land, properly cultivated and given attention could go up to $1 trillion. So Africa can actually be a net exporter of food and contributing to the world. People will always say to me, oh, how? I always give them an example. Bangladesh today produces about almost 60 million tons of rice. And Bangladesh is just about 148,000 square kilometers of land, in terms of land space. And with a 167 million population, they have, you can see, they hardly have space. But a country like Nigeria, where I'm from, we have about 923,000 square kilometers, which means we have about over six times Bangladesh size, and yet we do not produce 10% of what they produce in rice. So you could see there's so much room for agricultural productivity. And if we can do that, not only will Africa be able to feed itself and become a net exporter, but if Africa moves to the next stage where they become more productive, especially in manufacturing and value added in their raw materials, you could see that immense potential clearly. We will contribute a lot in the new order after Trump, in being a net exporter of finished goods, everything. And mineral resources is the same thing. If we manage the mineral resources very well, value added, you could see Africa contribute meaningfully to what will come after Trump disruption. So basically, Africa is positioned in what I can call the new order to become a place that will transform and contribute to the world in terms of global growth, global market supply, and everything. But the first thing, it needs to invest in critical areas of development, which is education, health, invest in pulling people out of poverty, which you can fight using the money. So that's my little contribution this afternoon. Thank you.
In the heart of the city where stories unfold, NjenjeMedia TV shining bright and bold, bringing news from the corners of the